WXII 12 News. This is breaking news.
We begin with breaking news in Greensboro at 11. Police are looking for answers after a man was shot at a gas station.
This is happening at the Exxon along the 800 block of East Market Street. Officers say the shooting happened just before 8 o'clock, and a short time later, a man with a gunshot wound showed up at the hospital. No word on the extent of the injuries, and investigators say they have no suspect information at this time. Anyone with information is urged to call Greensboro Police or Crime Stoppers. Turning to Thomasville, where a shots fired investigation is currently underway.
I want to give you a look at what the scene was like a little while ago along Winston Street. Officers tell us they went out there just after 6:30.
A neighbor tells our crew on the scene someone drove up, fired 3 shots at a home, and then drove off. We're currently working to get more information from Thomasville Police, and we will bring you more details as they come into the newsroom. Turning to Dallas, Texas, where a jury could return a verdict at any moment in the Amber Guyger murder trial. The former police officer is charged with murder.
Just over a year ago, Guyger walked into an apartment she says she thought was her own, then shot and killed Botham Jean as she was walking into his home. The prosecution told jurors Botham Jean died because of, quote, absurd and unreasonable choices. Guyger's attorney spent a lot of time reviewing key evidence and stressing that those facts should determine the outcome in the case. Guyger says she thought she was in her apartment and that Jean was an intruder. The jury is now weighing her fate after more than a week of tense and at times emotional testimony.
New tonight, the superintendent of Winston-Salem Forsyth County Schools is addressing recent cases of toy guns being brought on school campus. Dr. Angela Hairston says that there have been 6 reports of toy airsoft or BB guns being found on school campuses or on the buses during the first month of school. She wants parents to be vigilant in reminding students that nothing resembling a weapon is welcome at school. In a phone message to parents today, she says these cases are causing disruptions and undue fear in students. Police say that an Uber driver from Greensboro kidnapped and sexually assaulted a woman that he picked up back in June. Kernersville police arrested Tariq Atuali on Friday. Investigators say the woman called for an Uber in the early morning hours of June 27th, but the driver didn't take her to her destination. Instead, police say he took her somewhere else and committed the sexual offense while she was helpless. He is currently being held on $150,000 bond.
What started as a robbery and assault investigation in Greensboro is now a homicide investigation. Police have charged Divine Wheeler with murder and kidnapping along with other crimes. They say he broke into the Roadway Inn and Suites on Cedar Park Road 6 days ago and attacked Praveen Bahai Satar, who was an employee there. Investigators announced today that 64-year-old man died from his injuries. Tomorrow, the trees outside of Greensboro City Hall will be lit up purple in observance of Domestic Violence Awareness Month. It's to honor victims and survivors and encourage people to speak up if they or someone they know is in an abusive situation. The event starts at 6 at the Melvin Municipal Office Building there on Washington Street. Organizers say they're going to be out educating the community about local resources. The Poor People's Campaign brought its message to the Gate City tonight. Listen.
What do we want?
Justice.
When do we want it?
Now.
Register.
Register.
They held what they call a moral march down the streets of Greensboro to bring together people living in disenfranchised communities and help them register to vote. Afterward, the group met at Shiloh Baptist Church. Their message was that they need to do more to mobilize poor and low-wealth workers into a coalition to impact change.
It's important for us to stand up for people who are living and dying in poverty. That's the bottom line. If we don't continue to speak up and fight against this, who will?
This is a time that we need to rally together and show our support and show our love and solidarity, and to know that I love each and every one of you, and let's work together.
North Carolina is just one stop on this tour, which will end with a big march in Washington next June.
A recent phone call about the Russia investigation between President Trump and Australia's leader has been uncovered just as the Democrats' impeachment investigation ramps up, with the House issuing subpoenas for the president's personal lawyer, Rudy Giuliani. Reed Binion has the latest tonight from Washington.
It's a disgrace. This whole thing is a disgrace.
3 House committees have subpoenaed the president's personal lawyer, Rudy Giuliani, to turn over documents related to President Trump's controversial phone call with Ukraine. A source now saying Secretary of State Mike Pompeo was on that call.
Well, we're trying to find out about a whistleblower. When you have a whistleblower that reports things that were incorrect.
President Trump saying he is trying to uncover the identity of the whistleblower, whose safety is now in jeopardy, according to one of his attorneys.
Any rational person
would be concerned about the whistleblower's safety after the president's comments, which led from some press outlets on the right who were actually offering a bounty on trying to reveal the whistleblower's identity.
And in a recent phone call, President Trump pressed Australia's Prime Minister to help Attorney General William Barr with his investigation into the origins of the Russia probe. That's according to an official familiar with the call. The Justice Department calls the request appropriate. Australia's government responded saying, quote, "The Australian government has always been ready to assist and cooperate with efforts that help shed further light on the matters under investigation." I'm Reed Binion reporting.
One of President Trump's first supporters was New York Congressman Chris Collins, and he is resigning from Congress effective tomorrow when he's expected to plead guilty in federal court to insider trading charges. Collins is accused of tipping off family members to sell stock in a drug company before the stock tanked. Meanwhile, Guilford County elections officials could decide tomorrow which voting system it will use for the 2020 elections. The state is requiring paper ballots for each vote, and local elections boards have 3 certified vendors that they can choose from.
A campaign consultant in the Triad is raising concerns about a voter registration effort that's underway in the state. The concern is over incorrect or out-of-date information that could end up removing someone from the voter rolls. A Washington-based organization is sending out mailers to North Carolinians it believes are not registered to vote to help them register. Head to WXII12.com to see below the news full story on this, why it's causing so much concern, and what you can do to make sure your vote counts. There are now 14 confirmed vaping-related deaths in this country. Nebraska announced the state had its first death due to severe lung disease tied to vaping. Officials say that person died back in May. Health officials say vaping-associated lung injuries were not tracked by public health agencies until last month. Now that the problem's being recognized, states are discovering cases that occurred before August. The CDC says it's aware of over 800 probable cases. Moses Cone Hospital in Greensboro reported our state's first vaping death last week. They say that person died on Wednesday.
Right now, the 4 inmates who escaped from a prison in Ohio are in custody here in North Carolina. One suspect was arrested in Durham this afternoon. The other 3 were captured overnight in Cary and appeared in court today in Wake County. They're accused of attacking 2 female corrections officers early Sunday morning and making their getaway in a stolen vehicle. Investigators say they believe at least one person on the outside helped them escape. Authorities say an NYPD officer killed during a struggle yesterday was killed by friendly fire. Investigators say the officer, Brian Mulkeen, fired 5 rounds at an armed man, and his partners fired a total of 10 rounds. 2 of those bullets struck Mulkeen, and the suspect never fired the weapon during the struggle, and he was also killed.
This is a tragic case of friendly fire, but make no mistake, we lost the life of a courageous public servant solely due to a violent criminal put the lives of the police and all the people we serve in jeopardy.
The police commissioner says body camera footage is currently being reviewed.
Happening now, local and state crews are teaming up to figure out what caused the massive fire that rocked a residential complex yesterday in Surf City. Watch the right side of your screen in particular. Crews are still working to put out hot spots this morning. There's that explosion that really caused a lot of damage. 7 homes in all were destroyed. 1 other has bad fire damage. The black smoke could be seen and smelled for miles, but the good news is here, nobody got hurt. In Charlotte, more than 6 officers battled a 3-alarm restaurant fire in the heart of Uptown. The fire started at Rooster's wood-fired kitchen on the lower level of a high-rise at One Bank of America Plaza. There was heavy smoke when firefighters got out there. The entire building had to be evacuated. No one was hurt, and tonight we still don't know what caused that fire.